want to give all of you an update on several things. First of all, I'm still kind of surrounded by the devastation from the ice storm. The huge mound of wood, branches, limbs, tree trunks that's in the front of my house will remain there until the city comes by to pick it up, or I have it taken away, and that's kind of indeterminate right now. I'm not sure what we're going to have to do, and I'm on the waiting list to have my trees pruned. So I'm anxious for all of that to get done so that I can concentrate on the future. And this order is helping me greatly in thinking about the future and making me feel hopeful. This is my Colorblends order of tulip bulbs. I got this last week. If you guys order from Colorblends, and you can go to colorblends.com and place your order still, I think they've still got some available, then you know that they don't ship you or bill you until it's time to plant. Now, I got these last week, but I'll be honest, despite the fact that we had that ice storm, it really has still been very warm here, and traditionally, this is an easy way to remember when to plant your flower bulbs. Traditionally, I plant mine about the week before or 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, and typically by then temperatures have cooled enough, the dirt, the ground, the soil has cooled enough to make it compatible to go ahead and start planting bulbs. So I thought it would be fun to do an unboxing of the myriad of different kinds of tulips that I have. I always recommend that you save your Colorblends catalog, and you can go to colorblends.com and request a catalog, and then you will get, after you place your order, you'll get confirmation. And I always keep this confirmation list. It typically comes in an email form, and that way I can compare it to the order. One year I was missing a whole lot of things, and as it turns out, they were delivered to a house down the street by accident. So I always make sure to open them pretty much immediately after they arrive, go through them, make sure that they're good quality, and that I've gotten what I ordered. So let's do this. Now, there are so many things I love about Colorblends. First of all, I love the fact that the quality of the bulbs is just exceptional. What can I say? Now, I do work with Colorblends. This is a sponsored post, but I have to say that I ordered Colorblends for years before I started working with them. And I have bought thousands of them for years before they started sending me some. So, okay, this is a really fun order because it contains not only tulips, but this contains, look at these. Look at the size of these, you guys. These are, sorry Stuart, I probably put that down before you could take a look at them, but these are Amaryllis bulbs. Look at the size of those things. I am gonna get, I'm sure, maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 flower stalks out of that. Look at the quality of that bulb. It's incredible. It's almost 5 to 6 inches wide. So I'm going to get these out and separate them because these I'm going to start potting up pretty soon. This is Samba, and the reason that I like to have my catalog right at hand is sometimes I forget what I have ordered and what color things, what color combinations I've ordered, and that right there is Samba. So this way I can reference it, and sometimes I write the page number down on my order. And again, I've got my order here, and they also included one inside this packaging. So number one, how do they come shipped? They come shipped in these wonderful crates. And I keep these and I use these for a myriad of different purposes. I also gift them to a lot of people who like to use them in their garage and things. The other things that I never discard and that I gift to others are these yellow mesh bags, because I wash these and then I use them for produce bags at the grocery store. They work brilliantly. I'm repurposing, recycling something, and they're wonderful. And then I take the tags off and I save these and make sure to mark whatever it is I'm planting, and in this case it will be some of these amaryllis bulbs. Now amaryllis, they take a while to flower. A lot of times they will bloom before Christmas, but a lot of times, depending on the variety, they won't bloom till after Christmas, and that's fine with me because I like having that that early spring and that continued beauty after the Christmas tree has been taken down, etc., etc. So this is another variety. This is Double Dream. This is reddish pink with white, and again, these might be even larger than the other ones. I'm not sure. If you'll be patient while I try to open this. Sometimes they knot these up pretty well. And see how wonderful these would be for produce? But these, look at this. This is even bigger than the other ones. Look at those wonderful fleshy roots. And I'll do a video on potting up your amaryllis. The other thing is, when you unpack them, make sure that they are good, firm, and solid, that they're not mushy. And I don't think I've ever gotten a mushy bulb from Colorblends, so that's wonderful. So I've got this. This is also reddish pink and white, and I like that because they describe what the color palette is on the name of the bulb itself. So this Double Dream is reddish pink and white. Okay, it is going to be just a bonanza of amaryllis. This is more Double Dream. Put these over here, and I often give these, you guys, as gifts at Christmas time, so that's why I order so many. I also like to plant them not just singularly, but a lot of times I'll plant multiples in one huge dramatic display. So here's more Samba. I used to, when Linda Cavanaugh was still doing Channel 4, she and I used to have amaryllis races, and we would both plant one at the same time and then see who's bloomed first, and we would have a reveal on camera, and I'm embarrassed to say that most of the time she won, and hers always bloomed faster than mine. Ooh, this one is Double Delicious. It's red with white. Gosh, every time I pull out a different bag, I hadn't really intended to open all of these, you guys, but every time I open another bag, well, I'm going to leave that because it's kind of difficult. But these bulbs, I think, are even larger than the last ones. Stuart, does that look even larger than the other two? I mean, that's like, gosh, 5 going on 6 inches. Okay, so this year, every year I have a subtly different color scheme, but always it's dictated by the colors of my house, the colors that I like, and other things that bloom simultaneously. Now, in the past, that has largely been dictated by the azaleas that I have growing, and they were pinks, whites, and kind of a magenta pink, which meant that I stayed away from any orangey, reddish colors, and I have historically done that, and I did that again this year. This year, however, that entire bed of azaleas was taken down by the ice storm, so I guess it wouldn't have been necessary to do that this year. But in tandem with my friend Sally Ferguson at Colorblends, we came up with a wonderful palette that's going to be pink, white, lavender, little hints of purple, lots of white. It should be beautiful, and they're going to be predominantly mid and late blooming bulbs. And I will show you the technique on how I kind of combine all of them and how I get them in the ground when it's time to actually do that. But right now I am just making sure that they're in good shape. So each bag contains about 100 tulip bulbs. So I can look. This one is very chic. It's pink with green. And after I get finished doing this video, I will make sure that I grab my pen and I mark off each bag to ensure that I got what I ordered. This one is called Purple Lady. And not only does it tell you what color it is, this is purple, but it also tells me when it's going to bloom and the height. So that is pretty wonderful, I think. This one is going to bloom a little bit later. Now, when I say later, for those of us in Oklahoma, in the south, and because I face south, My later blooming tulips will bloom probably earlier than those of you that live further north. And a lot of my late ones begin blooming at the end of March and then go through the first 2 weeks of April. So it kind of depends on weather conditions, it depends on your geography, it depends on the direction that the directional orientation that you plant them in. And for me, my big show is typically towards the end of March and the first part of April. So I have 100 purple ladies. I think I counted how many tulips I ordered in all, and it was 1,500. Now, Stuart just gave me a look like, oh my gosh, she is tulip crazed. Most of those will go in the front yard, but not all of them. Some of them will go in the window box. Some of them will go in great big pots. Some of them will go in the back in the potager, so it just kind of depends. Now I also have, and these I have, oh, I didn't even know I was getting these. They must have sent me these to try. Paper white Nur, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but along with my amaryllis, I will pot this up for the holidays. Now, there's a question always about, I get this every year, what do you do with your tulips after they bloom? And I have always said that most of the time, in most cases, I pull them out and compost them. And it's because for me, tulips don't readily perennialize, they don't readily come back. One woman was appalled when she heard that I did that because apparently in her location they did come back. But even the catalog says that they are not reliably rebloomers. And if you're like me and you're addicted to tulips and you absolutely have to have tulips in your spring garden, I don't want anything iffy. I want to make sure that they come back. And when you're planting bulbs, what you really want to ensure, you guys, is that you plant them in sunlight so that they get adequate sun to bloom, and to the extent possible, you give them good drainage. Now, you're going to ask, okay, in my, well, at least previously shady front yard, how could I do that? Well, remember that deciduous trees lose their leaves in the wintertime. So what had been in shade is going to be in full sun during the growing season when these bulbs are putting on root growth and also when they're putting on flowers, foliage, and their stalks. So that is something to consider. If it's in deep shade, however, they may not bloom so well. Okay, so here are the big kahunas. These are the ones I can tell, but I always get in huge numbers. This is what they call, oh my goodness, there's 300 of these. And there are some price discounts, some quantity discounts on some of these bulbs. It just depends on what they are. But these, I love the terminology and I love the descriptions of the different bulbs. These are called Pinot Taj. And I would say that this is probably my foundational inspiration. This was the first selection that I picked out, and all of the other ancillary bulbs and supplemental bulbs that I picked out related in color, in size, and in form to these Pinot Taj tulips. These are pink, purple, and maroon. They're mid-late to late. So what that means is they will unfold, they'll bloom in color and in timing over an expanse of days, weeks, and months. And I just really love that. So I've got two of these, and so that means I've got 600 total of Pinot Taj. And you guys, if you, obviously next spring I will show you how this all looks, but if you want, sometimes what I like to do is make a mood board, and you can select whatever your tulips are, and then you can cut them out and you can put all the different varieties together to see if it comes up with a pleasing combo for you. And that's kind of what I did this year. Pinot Taj was my point of inspiration, and then I looked at other varieties that might complement it. So see, there's Pinot Taj right there. And then I selected other varieties. And what I love about this, Stuart, I don't know if people can see, but these have traditional cup-shaped flower forms, but also some lily-shaped flower forms. and I think that's really pretty. And then there's lots of color echoes in there, so I picked up on the white and the pink. So there is that. And I told Stuart he had to move all of these crates out here for me because I started my training sessions this week and I can hardly move. I'm so sore. So I need to get over that before it's time to plant all of these. And you're going to ask, do I plant them all myself? In past years, there have been many years when I planted them all myself. This year, I'll probably get help for multiple reasons because I've got so many. Okay, what are these? Okay, these, you guys, I tried these for the first time last year. This was a new blend last year, and it was absolutely spectacular. So for any of you that want to really play up the white in your gardens, or you want an all green and white garden, or a moonlight garden, this would be a selection for you. These are called Vidal. They're white and white with green. They're early, mid to late. So the whites come out and they pick up the white in the Pinot Taj. They bloom kind of simultaneously and in progression over time. It's fabulous to watch. I grew these in pots last year in addition to in the bed, and they did absolutely beautifully. And I have 500 of these. So I will mark these off of my list. Let me move these out of the way. One more. That probably messed up my mic. Did it? It didn't? Good. Okay, so here's my last batch. And since I'm not going to be planting these for a couple of weeks yet, I keep them in a cool, dark, dry place. So for me, Stuart, if you can show them my front door, there's a little vestibule underneath that steep pitched awning or steep pitched roof. There's a little vestibule when you first go into my house, and that's where I keep them. It's kind of a dark, cool, shady area. Now all of these, I don't even really have to check them out too much because they're all firm, they're all fresh, they're all good quality bulbs. Okay, if you want to, oh, here's more Double Delicious Amaryllis. You guys, this is like Christmas. This is like Christmas. If you want to try something that will really rock your boat, if you have not grown these kinds of amaryllis, or excuse me, alliums before, you really need to. Try Allium Schuberti and or Allium Christophi. They have a galactic kind of quality about them. They look like lavender fireworks. They're incredible. They are Dr. Seussish. Kids will absolutely love them. You can grow them in pots. I typically always grow them someplace in my potager, and they're so whimsical, you guys. If you haven't tried them, by all means, try them. They're very, very fun. I love them. I've got lots of Globemaster back there that come up year after year, but these are kind of special friends that I use kind of for a showstopper effect. And then what else do I have here? I have Miss Confection. This is reddish pink and white. There are 100 of these. I have more Miss Confection. And then, and I'm not really sure how I'm going to do these, you guys. I love this Carnegie Hyacinth. These are white, and they're a pure, pure white. They're absolutely gorgeous. I love the way they look when they're blooming, and then there's a little bit of snow on them because it just is so, it's got such a refreshing, really wintry, beautiful winter wonderland look. And these are white. Sometimes I plant these in my window box, but I think this year I'm going to do largely tulips in my window box, pansies, some of my edibles I like to incorporate in there, and I think these might just go in some great big pots. Those great big black pots that I told you I saved, Stuart, we need to make sure that we put a link to that video up, because this is exactly why I saved those, for purposes just like this. So I may be still very dismayed and saddened about all of my trees, and I'm a little bit intimidated because this is a ton of work to come, but I am also excited, and more importantly, I'm really hopeful about next spring and how this new concoction is going to develop and evolve over time, especially because I'm going to have a lot more light. And I'll talk to you a little bit more extensively about what I'm going to do about the smashed azaleas and some of the other things in another post. But for right now, if you haven't already, go to Colorblends, see what their offerings are, what they still have available, and sometimes later in the season they'll put their things on sale. So take a look, and it looks like I've got my work cut out for me, you guys.